Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to Heisman Talk, your number one source of college football news on YouTube. I'm Nate Dogg, here with my co-host, Devonair D. Jackson, to break down our episode of Week 9 Game Day Pick'ems. And boy, do we have some games for you this weekend. It's Halloween weekend, lots of treats ahead, maybe a few trick plays, but mostly treats. So D, without further ado, let's jump right into it. Good to have you back. Good to see you at Spartan Stadium for this week's Game of the Week. We'll get to it later on in the episode. But I first want to start off with our records as they currently stand. D, you are 29-23 on the season, and I currently rank at 32-20. So I gained another game ahead of you this past weekend. Thank you, Air Force. But D, let's hope we can both stay on track this week. Our first game of the day is going to be Texas at number 16 Baylor. This is a 12 o'clock kickoff on ABC. Baylor currently favored by 2.5. This spread keeps sliding back and forth. 3 points, 2.5. Who do you got winning this close Big 12 matchup?
Yeah, Nate, like you said, it's a pretty big Big 12 matchup. Baylor favored by 2.5. I'm going to take Baylor in this matchup, man. I think Texas's offense is better, but I think that Baylor's defense, along with that home crowd, will be able to stop Texas enough in order to, win the game. Texas can score in bunches. They kind of go stale in the second half, as we've seen throughout the season. But definitely look for Baylor safety Jalen Petrie, man. He's rising up draft boards, and he's a heck of a player. And so, that defense is really good. And, I think that Baylor's going to take the game.
Yeah, D, Texas is coming off of a bye week after 2 straight losses to Oklahoma and Oklahoma State. Hasn't been the kind of season that they expected. They started off, great, lost to Arkansas, got back on track, and then they've lost a couple since then. Casey Thompson hoping to bounce back as well after throwing 2 picks against Oklahoma State. They're going to really need Bijan Robinson to step up in this game as well, along with, their talent on the outside and Xavier Worthy. But, Baylor on the other side, on the contrary, has been putting up a lot of points a lot of yards on offense, averaging 472 yards per game. And then look out for running back Abram Smith for the Bears. He's having a huge year for the Baylor Bears, rushing for 785 yards on 105 carries, 10 touchdowns. So the slight edge over Bijan Robinson. I'm going to take Baylor in a close one, D. Close, real close. But yeah, I agree. I think Baylor takes this one. And for y'all out there, every time I pick against Texas, Texas wins. So if you're betting on the game, you might want to pick Texas, but I'm taking Baylor in this one. So then we head down to the world's largest cocktail party. That is the number 1 Georgia Bulldogs versus the Florida Gators. This is a 3:30 kickoff on CBS. UGA favored by its largest point spread in rival history right now at around 14 points, 14 and a half, whatever website you're looking at. But D, this is a game that we expected coming into the season to be a top 15 matchup. And now we look at it, Georgia seems to be having their way with every single team. Florida, on the other hand, really struggling. And Dan Mullen seems to be on the hot seat, which was very surprising. D, who do you have winning this SEC rivalry?
Yeah, Nate, with this, man, rivalry games, you can never tell. You never know. Guys are going to come out and be fired up and ready to go, man. With all that being said, I'm going to have to take UGA, the number 1 team in the nation. Their defense, led by Nakobe Dean and Jordan Davis, is just lights out. I just don't see Florida has a pretty good offense, but, I just don't see them being able to do anything against that Georgia defense. And, Florida's defense hasn't looked so great lately. So we'll see if Todd Grantham can pull out anything, out of his hat. But I'm going Georgia in this matchup, man.
D, that's a great pick. I think anyone heading into this game sees UGA running away with this game by at least 14 to 21 points. But everyone's wondering who will be the quarterback for each team. On Florida, will it be Emory Jones or will it be Anthony Richardson? On the Georgia side, will it be Stetson Bennett or JT Daniels? We don't know. But what we do know is that Georgia defense is going to come ready to play. Also, D, be looking out for tight end Brock Bowers and wide receiver Ladd McConkey have a huge day for the Dogs in this one. I'm taking Georgia big. Big. So, D, then we head to another SEC rivalry on the SEC West side, where the number 10 Ole Miss Rebels head to Jordan Hare Stadium to take on the number 18 Auburn Tigers. This is a 7 o'clock kickoff on ESPN. Auburn currently favored in this game by 3 points. D, who do you have winning this close one?
Yeah, Nate, man, this game, I went back and forth, man. It's really, really tough game to pick. You got a very, very elite offense in, Ole Miss. And it's like the big question for me is, can Auburn's defense slow down, Ole Miss's offense? I don't think so. I'm going to go with Ole Miss to win this game. I think it's going to be a shootout, actually. I think Auburn, I think Bo Nix, I think Tank Bigsby and those guys, I think they'll be able to put up points on the Ole Miss defense. And I think Ole Miss will be able to put up points on the Auburn defense. So I think it'll be a shootout. And I think that Ole Miss is just better offensively. So I'm going to take Ole Miss in this game.
Not so fast, D. Not so fast. Ooh. Auburn is currently on a 5-game win streak against Ole Miss, dating back to 2016. And D, I'm not surprised the Tigers have a slight edge in this one. ESPN giving them a 58.7% chance to win. D, it's Halloween weekend, and I'm looking for a little bit of Nix magic. Bo Nix magic. D, this Auburn football team has had its ups and downs all year, but I think it's clear that Auburn has the better defense heading into this game, and I think that's going to make the biggest difference. I think they're going to be putting a spy on Matt Corral all game, and I think they're going to be able to really limit him from escaping that pocket. So give me the Auburn Tigers and a quote-unquote upset according to rankings, but they're favored in this game. But yeah, give me the Auburn Tigers, D.
Wow. Yeah, it's going to be a really good game, man. It was really tough to pick, really tough.
Absolutely. It's going to be one of the best games of the day. So then we head to the American Athletic Conference, where we might see one of the biggest games of the year, where the number 19 SMU Mustangs hit the road to go play the Houston Cougars. Houston Cougars are unranked, but they currently are still 6-1 on the season. This is a 7 o'clock kickoff on ESPN2. D, you can't get a closer matchup. There's no favorite. It's even. It's even according to the books right now. So it really is a coin flip. SMU is given a 50.1% chance to win according to ESPN.com. D, who wins this game?
Man, like you talk about picking a game, man, and you see the spread and it says even. You're like, what? Like, it's crazy, man. It was tough. I'm going with SMU. I think SMU has the better quarterback. I know they're playing at Houston, but SMU has a better quarterback in Tanner Mordecai. He's been very, very good this year. Like you said, both teams are undefeated in the conference. It's going to be a huge game, man. Very, very, very big game. But yeah, give me SMU and quarterback Tanner Mordecai to win this game.
Yeah, D, that's a great pick. It's a great pick. The Houston Cougars are a great ball team, no doubt. Clayton Tune is really good at extending plays with his feet. He can really move around the pocket and make something happen out of nothing. They've got a freshman running back who's a complete star in Alton McCaskill, who has rushed for 463 yards and 9 touchdowns this season. Really underrated back there. And then you got a guy like wide receiver Nathaniel Dell. He's going to have an opportunity to put Houston in this game. But then you look at SMU. SMU has really struggled in the secondary. But let me tell you what, their front seven is dominant, and they're going to be running after Clayton Tune all day long. Look for linebacker Gary Wiley to have a huge second half. And the reason I say that is they'll be without him because of a targeting call last week against Tulane. He's going to be hungry in the second half. And then also look for running back Trey Siggers and wide receiver Danny Gray to really help out Tanner Mordecai in that SMU offense. I'm going to take SMU in a close one, D. I agree. I'm going to take SMU.
Yeah.
So then we go to the Big Ten Conference, where the number 20 Penn State Nittany Lions go into the Big Shoe to take on the number 5 Ohio State Buckeyes. And D, this is another game, like I mentioned earlier, that we really expected to be a top 10 matchup just 2 weeks ago. And now we look at what happened, what transpired last week for Penn State, and you wonder, is this game even going to be close? 7:30 kickoff on ABC. Ohio State currently favored by a whopping 18.5 points. D, go ahead, give us your pick.
Man, like you said, everybody expected this game to be a little bit more hyped, a little bit more exciting. Penn State going to the shoe and being an 18.5 point underdog, man. I just don't see it. I don't see Penn State winning this game. I'm picking Ohio State. Penn State's defense last week against Illinois looked horrible. Chase Brown ran all over them. Illinois as a team ran all over them. And so when you add that in with the fact that the weapons that CJ Stroud has are they're really, really good weapons, man. And, he has the number 1 quarterback in the quarterback rating in the nation with 91.7. So he's been playing really, really well. The Penn State defense doesn't look so good. So definitely give me Ohio State to win this game in the shoe.
Yeah, dude, you can throw out all your notes on this one. I don't expect this one to be close. You can talk about C.J. Stroud. You can talk about their run game, their pass game. Their defense has progressed over time. It's gotten better. But look, on the other side for Penn State, Sean Clifford is still really banged up from a couple weeks ago. It looks like James Franklin's too focused on a place called Southern California, and getting his staff ready to go to USC. I don't see this one close either. Give me Ohio State by 24 points.
Wow. I see it, man. I can see that.
So then we go out west to a more unconventional game where the unranked Virginia Cavaliers hit the road to go play the number 25 BYU Cougars. And D, we've talked about this BYU team previously over the past several weeks with one of our Heisman of the week and a couple of games here and there picking them, but we really haven't shown much love for this Virginia team. Now we're getting a chance to. They're currently 6-2. These teams have actually met. This will be the 6th time they've met. Virginia leads the series 3-2, with last matchup being in 2014. D, who wins this one? This is a 10:15 kickoff on ESPN2. BYU favored by 2.5 right now.
Yeah, man, this is one of the matchups that makes college football great, man. Makes it fun. I didn't realize that, UVA's offense has been very elite this year, man. They have legitimately been very elite, led by quarterback Brennan Armstrong. But every single time I pick against BYU, I feel like they win. Jaron Hall is a very good quarterback. Will he be able to put up points against the lackluster Virginia defense? I think he will. But give me UVA to win this game, man. I'm picking Virginia to go up to BYU and win the game. I think that offense is really good. I think it'll travel up there. I think Brennan Armstrong will play well, give me UVA to win the game.
Yeah, from what we know about these two teams, right, especially Virginia, we know Virginia is going to put up points in this game. The question is, can BYU match it step for step? They're really going to have to rely on their star running back in Tyler Algier to really set up that run game and also the play action. BYU's defense not looking so good. They're averaging about allowing around 386 yards per game, 22 points. I think I'm going to agree with you. I think the Cavaliers take this game in a close upset. But yeah, I think Brendan Armstrong's having one heck of a year. He's one of the top 3 quarterbacks in college football right now in terms of statistics. Give me Virginia in a close upset. Great pick, D. Great pick. So then we head out even further west to one of the biggest games of the year for the Mountain West Conference. I mentioned this game very shortly in our pick'ems last week. That is, the Fresno State Bulldogs go on the road to take on the number 21 San Diego State Aztecs. This is a 10:30 kickoff on CBS SN. San Diego State currently favored in this game by 1 point, so you might as well call it even as well. San Diego State currently on a one-game win streak, leads this series of matchups 30-25 in previous years. Indeed, just for your history fanatics out there, the first game ever played between these two teams was back in 1924. Fresno State won that game 7-0. So, D, with that being said, who do you have winning this matchup in 2021?
Man, really, really interesting matchup again. Man, you talked about it last week. If San Diego State won, it would be a better matchup than if they lost, but it would still be a good matchup, and it is because they won. Man, San Diego State's defense is just elite, man. They are flat out elite. They play very, very hard. They fly everywhere. They're a really, really good defense. And then on the other side, the flip side, you have Fresno State's offense. They have an explosive offense and a really, really good quarterback in Jake Haener. Give me Fresno State, man. I think San Diego State will be able to slow down Jake Haener and the Fresno State offense, but I don't think they'll be able to score enough in order to beat Fresno State. And so for that reason, I'm going to take Fresno State in this game.
Yeah, D, that's a great pick. I think we all know who Jake Haener is at this point. I think it's really going to come down between these two defenses. Like you said, the Aztecs have a great defense. They shut down Air Force pretty good last week. But let me tell you what, this Fresno State defense ain't playing around either. They held Nevada to 47 yards rushing last week. The secondary needs a little bit of work. They're allowing about 341 yards per game passing, which isn't the best. But as we know, San Diego State hasn't really proven themselves in the passing game. So, yeah, I'm going to agree with you on this one, D. I think Jalen Cropper plays a big part in this game with Jake Haener. Give me the Bulldogs of Fresno State in this one. And a huge win against the Aztecs. So, D, then we head to our game of the week. You're there at Spartan Stadium. I've got the helmets behind me. And who would have thought Jim Harbaugh versus Mel Tucker in a top 10 matchup? The number 6 Michigan Wolverines hit the road to East Lansing to take on the number 8 Michigan State Spartans. This is a 12 o'clock kickoff on Fox. Michigan currently favored in this game by 4. Michigan State currently on a one-game win streak. They won last year in Ann Arbor. Who wins this close one?
Man, another tough one, man. This is a great week of college football. If you're a college football fan, you're just really, really ready to get to this weekend, man, because it's going to be a great weekend of football. This game, man, my question is, will the home field advantage that Michigan State has, will it overcome some of their deficiencies as far as offensive line? I think that they're a good team. I wouldn't say they have deficiencies on the offensive line, but I think that they're not as good as Michigan is on the defensive line. Aiden Hutchinson is a heck of a defensive end. They have other guys that are really, really good players on that Michigan defensive side of the ball. Give me Michigan to win this game, man. Michigan State, I think it's really hard to pick because I do think that they have the better quarterback. I think Peyton Thorne is a better quarterback than Cade. I think that their running back's a better running back as far as Kenneth Walker's one of the best running backs in the nation. But give me Michigan because I think they're going to dominate in the trenches on the offensive line and the defensive line, and they're going to go into a rocking environment at Michigan State. So give me Michigan.
Yeah, D. Both of these teams hungry for a big win, and let me tell you what you said. For college football fans, what a treat this is. You don't need your candy on Sunday night. You already got a sugar rush on Saturday with the matchups like these. I think I agree. Like Michigan State definitely has the better offense. They got a better quarterback, better running back, better guys outside at the wide receiver position, and Jalen Naylor and Jaden Reed. But some might argue that Michigan has the better defense, and they do have a very strong defensive front. Michigan State is only allowing 121 yards rushing so far this season. Secondary needs a little bit of work, allowing 285 yards. Michigan only allowing 14 points per game, 116 yards rushing, 182 passing. And the Wolverines, they're capable of putting up points. But I'm taking Mel Tucker and the Michigan State Spartans to upset the Wolverines at home. I think this is going to be a signature win for Mel Tucker. It always seems around this time, that Jim Harbaugh always finds a way to slip up around November. So, yeah, give me Mel Tucker. I think he's going to have his team ready to play. The Michigan Spartans are taking down the Wolverines. Well, that's a wrap for today's episode. When we come back next week, we'll break down our Week 9 Heismans of the Week, and we'll jump ahead to our Week 10 Game Day Pick'ems. So make sure you're sticking out for that. It's going to be a great rest of the season ahead. We've still got some great matchups ahead, so don't miss out. Get ready. College football is here, and it's here to stay. Make sure you're subscribed down below if you're not already to become a part of the Heisman Talk family. We love you and we appreciate you, all your support so far. Make sure you give this video a big thumbs up. Make sure that bell notification's turned on so you can stay up to date when we post our latest video. And make sure to share it with your friends. As always, this is Nate Dogg and D signing off.